fairly confusing, but this ridge that we're on, if you look to your left, you'll see the valley of Turner Creek. If you look to your right, you'll see the valley of Elam Creek. And so it's a narrow little ridge along the Winnesoga Road here that a lot of the fighting will take place. The Federals will be falling back from our front, back the opposite direction we're going, as the Confederates are pushing toward Corinth. And then they will stop for the night and make the final assault the next morning against Corinth. And sort of similar to what we saw at Vicksburg with the approaches and all that, but on a larger scale. Shiloh takes them a couple of days. As we move northward, you will, if you look closely, you will see a few markers, historic markers, that will denote various things. In fact, I believe there's one right up here at the state line. It's sort of hidden a little bit. If you look to your right past the green sign, you'll see one of those iron tablets that simply is talking about Confederate March. They are World War I veterans, and during the New Deal, the Great Depression, all of that, the World War I veterans who didn't get their bonus, you may be familiar with the bonus army, all of that, they petitioned to be included in the CCC. And so these will be, some of them married older men, veterans of World War I. Now what is most unique about these two camps is that they are made out of African American enrollees. You had either black camps or white camps, and these are African American CCC camps. With white officers. Veterans of World War I. And so that is unique and extremely interesting. Confederates march in two different columns, one on the Ridge Road, one on the main, basically the Corinth Road. We are on the rightmost, eastmost road of the Confederate advance. Two Confederate Corps would have moved up this road. That would have been Braxton Bragg's 2nd Corps and John C. Breckinridge's Reserve 3rd Corps would march. So they're marching parallel with each other northward toward Shiloh, and the idea is they're going to integrate together into to the main army and then attack at Shiloh. But that becomes extremely confusing because they're not just supposed to meet up and form a line of battle. They're supposed to weave in together. The 1st Corps on the other road is supposed to go first, and then one Corps on this road, and then another Corps on the next road, and then another Corps on this road. They're supposed to weave in together, and it rains cats and dogs. Imagine out in what we saw yesterday, trying to march through that. You've got to keep your timetable, but trying to march through that, and it just becomes mass chaos. And as a result, they have to postpone the attack by one day. Night of April the 4th in Mickey here, but this farmhouse was actually a little farther to the north and the west, and that's where the actual concentration takes place, but then they take the name here. This was actually the town name was Monterey, and if you look to your left, you will see an illustration of that at the old Monterey Cafe. You'll see some yellow signs, and that will denote Buell's Army of the Ohio. So Graham's Army of the Tennessee will be blue, Buell's Army of the Ohio will be yellow. But the concentration area where both of these wings come together will be to our left at a place called Mickey's, and the Confederates will move forward from that point and actually re-enter this road. We've been on just a little stretch of the road that was not actually marched over before the battle. There's some marching on it after the battle. But the Confederate Army will be moving toward us kind of at an angle as we're moving forward. But again, we'll start left. You'll see a small red tablet. This is where Beauregard's headquarters were. Right here, I'm passing it right there. That's where the Council of War took place, where Johnston said, I would fight them if they were 1,000,000. They can present no greater front between these two creeks than we can. The more men they crowd in there, the worse we can make it far. We are between Owl Creek to our left, Lick Creek to our right. We're going to be right up here as we reach the little community of Shiloh. There's a little museum here, and there's a gas station. We is Fraley Field. And the battle actually begins at Fraley Field. We are on the Confederate deployment area, and we're actually riding parallel right now with the initial Confederate line. Hardee's Corps, this first line will have 4 brigades from left to right. Patrick Claiborne, y'all probably heard of Patrick Claiborne, Sam Wood, Robert Shaver, and Adley Gladden, facing basically to our right front. And the federal camps will be back behind Shiloh Branch, as we talked about last night. They are camped on the lower half and the upper half of the hourglass, and they will be camped on the ridges north of Shiloh Branch and north of Locust Grove Branch. But notice as we go up this ridge, this will be the ridge on which the Union forces will initially camp, forcing the Confederates back there to come through that bottom that is very soggy, very wet due to the storms of the 4th and the 5th to attack this line. In fact, and the Union line will continue in the woods to the right. This is Sherman's division as they're deployed to fight the battle on the morning of April the 6th. You'll also see another headquarters site for General Oglesby from Illinois. We're going down into the valley. This is part of the northern set of creeks. This will be Tillman Branch. You can see we're going down a good bit and then back up. But the causeway that's built here doesn't really show the actual depth. Look off to the right and left. It's a lot deeper than it actually looks like. Mission markers noted by these tablets. Grant's last line of defense. And we'll start to see artillery right up here. And you can see just how defensible this is, of course. Look at these big guns here on the right. These are the siege guns that are brought in, obviously, to lay siege to Corinth. But by the time it gets really testy here, they're putting everything they got in line. Cemetery to the left. Most of the stones are small square stones that are unknown. The larger, taller ones are the ones that are known. About 4,000 burials out there. It's a beautiful national cemetery right here on the banks of the Tennessee River here. Now again, the river is larger than it was at that time, probably by about a third.
Nice visitor center here at Shiloh. U.S. Army of the Tennessee under Major General Grant. The Confederate Army of the Mississippi under Albert Sidney Johnson, and he gets killed. U.S. Army of the Ohio under General Don Carlos Buell. Congress in 1897 is, leave this stuff alone, don't pester, don't steal, don't do anything, we will take care of you. Not less than 5 days or more than 30 days or by fine and imprisonment. So behave yourself. Nationalism surged in the 1890s, prompting the creation of many museums, monuments, memorials, and statues. Civil War veterans seeking to enhance the national memory pushed to establish national parks on some of the most momentous battlefields. One of these, of course, was Shiloh. A map of the action here was done in 1904. But we have the Shiloh Cemetery and the Shiloh Church. And that church gives the name to this major battle, the Shiloh Church. Casualties here were about 24,000, but killed were down to 1,700 Confederates and 1,750 Nationals. There's the wounded and there's missing. So Grant's army's just been hanging out at Camp Shiloh, marking time, taking some time off. They did not know that they were facing an immediate impending attack.
Something else.
To April 7th, federal troops had a bad day of it the day before, but the Nationals get their act together and the Confederate defeat at Shiloh provides Union forces in the West with a crucial victory in their effort to wrestle back control of the Mississippi. It shows Union survivors in 1904. The other side, these are Confederate soldiers. Just a few. We were at Corinth, and you go up this road, and you arrive at Shiloh.